what happens if you do something that starts a whole new field of physics that they've got hundreds of scientists working on, measuring the properties of this condensate, playing with it.
You get to go to Disneyland? No. Stockholm.
You get to go to Stockholm. Here we are on December 10th, the anniversary of Alfred Nobel's death. And in fact, this year was the 100th anniversary of his death.
Which meant they invited back all 170 of the currently living Nobel laureates from prior years. So there they all are assembled. And here, just in the front row, is the gang of 11, this year's Nobel laureates. There's me, and where are you, Carl?
I'm right there.
Oh, that's right. And there's Wolfgang Ketterle,
Yeah.
our arch rival, but not such a bad guy for all that, who shared the prize with us.
And over here, the royal family lined up, and here's basically, and going on back, is all the elite of Stockholm. This is sort of the Opera Hall of Stockholm.
It's
National Opera Hall.
Yeah, this is sort of the major social event of December in Stockholm, and not much is going on. It's very, very dark all the time, and everybody who is anybody is here. One of the things we want to mention about these four people is not only are they very good scientists, but they clean up good. You can see Mike is back. He's recovered his equilibrium now. 7 years earlier, he was pretty excited about this, but now he's getting back to normal.
Yeah, one of the fun things about this is, you know, we could bring the students, our families, and so on to share in all these enormous number of fancy events. But they did have to wear these same exotic costumes that we did, so.
Oh, let me just sort of tell you what's going on here. But on the very first day we arrived in Stockholm, we were shown a video, an orientation video, about like what to expect. And one of the central things is they showed, over the past 50 years, they showed videos of famous laureates screwing up when they got up to their moment to meet the king. And you know, and I realized that the video wasn't really so much training, it was to motivate us to pay attention during a later extensive rehearsal. I mean, it went on for a long time, and here we are, 11 Nobel laureates, supposedly intelligent, I don't know, and it was getting a little bit insulting. But you know, so I stopped paying attention, I'd say, after about halfway through. But a strange thing happened when I actually got up there. First of all, you're in white tie and tails, which is this white vest. You're wearing suspenders. If you slouch even the slightest bit, the suspenders fall off your shoulders like bra straps coming over your shoulders. And so I got up finally, and I was sitting in my chair down the far end of the stage, and I'm telling myself, you know.
So first I should point out, in all fairness, that in that line you saw, the physicists always go first, and they go alphabetically, which means
little Eric was first.
Little Eric, who was also by many years the junior member of the group of laureates.
And so I'm getting up, and I've got these new tuxedo shoes on. Have you ever bought those tuxedo shoes? They're really, very slippery on carpet. So I'm not so much walking over to meet His Majesty as skating, and I'm maintaining posture so these things don't fall off. And I'm, you know, paying attention, and you know, okay. And all of a sudden, it occurred to me that, as sort of a cool and hip and detached and ironic sort of person as I feel I am, I was a little bit overwhelmed by the scene to have 170 Nobel laureates here. And the king, I've never met a king before. The king didn't actually come to the rehearsal. They had a stand-in for the king. And actually, it would have been good if he did come, because what happened is, first, he hands me the stuff in the left hand, and he reaches over with his hand, and I reach under with my hand. And so I say, fine, you're the king, I'll change. And I came back. And then what happened? Oh, then we succeeded in shaking. But then the next thing that happened is they handed us a diploma, which is heavy, and this thing, which is actually not the real one. This is not so heavy. The gold one is actually quite heavy. And I'm kind of like holding it like this. What's the next slide? Yeah. He says, watch out, you're going to drop that on the floor. At least I think that's what he said. It was in Swedish. But anyway, when it was all done, I turned around and I neglected to do the one thing which we had been trained to do day and night for 7 straight days, which was to bow to the king. And I just kind of wandered back over there, and there was this deathly silence. I thought, why isn't everyone clapping? I mean, I'm not, you know, geez, that seems, I wish they would clap or something. And can we see the next slide? The queen and the crown princess were scandalized. And it took me, I sat down and had one of the purest moments of mortification in my entire life when I realized I had screwed up. Needless to say, Carl did it perfectly.
But I've been asked, you know, what did the king say to you? You know, how did you feel when he gave you the prize? And to be honest, my entire thought process was dominated by, remember to bow, remember to bow. Because I remembered when Eric didn't bow.
So after this, we went to one of the grandest. We left the concert hall and went to the city hall of Stockholm, and it was one of the sort of grandest events I've ever been at. Yeah. It's this huge brick interior, lit. I won't say garishly, but festively, and 1,300 of our closest friends were there to eat dinner with us. This is called the head table, and right at the center of that, His Majesty and Her Majesty are sitting there, and closest to them, of course, are the physicists, and then right. Fanned out on either side are the lesser disciplines. Kidding! It was really quite something, and it actually is part of a week-long festivity where they did everything possible to make this into a big deal. And, you know, press conferences, you know, roundtable discussions, lectures, receptions at the embassy, where have you. Later we went to another dinner at the king's house. Everything sort of designed to make this seem, look at this glowing ice cream here. It looks almost radioactive, but it was quite edible.
The great thing about banquets with the king, though, is, you know, and it's very important because you've got like 14 different silverware and, you know, 7 glasses and so on. But if you're in the room with the king, you just are supposed to do exactly what the king's doing. And so as long as you're close enough to see him, you never have to worry. You just follow what he's doing. And fortunately, they always give it to him first. Okay, so here's the king serving his ice cream. And
now we can eat.
No. Now the queen.
Oh, sorry. The queen's got to get her ice cream. Yeah, there's the queen.
There's the queen.
That's Wolfgang Ketterle there, sitting next to the queen. And that's the chairman of the Nobel Foundation.
Right. And the queen has probably a pound of diamonds on her. It was pretty amazing.
Diamonds are sewn into her bodice. I don't know if you can tell this. I mean, she really is sparkly looking.
Yeah. Okay, that's enough for the video.